Welcome back to the Geometry STEM Unit, Part 2. Day 2 is where students will then design the crew sector. So they will be tasked with dividing each of their shapes into equal portions so that each crew member is responsible to an equal amount of work. So students will then use their design that they created on day 1 and divide each of their shape into equal parts, in which they will then determine how many crew members they need to run the ship successfully. For your low learners, you might scaffold their learning in which they divide each shape by the same number. Or for your proficient and advanced learner, you can divide their shapes, each shape differently, or how you can challenge them to figure out what is the least amount of crew members that you need to what is the most amount of crew members that you might have on your ship. For day 2, you will need a pencil, marker, ruler, the layout design the student has created, and I have provided a few ways that you can show students how they can divide or section out their shapes into equal, identical parts. On day 3, the students will be tasked with designing the passenger quarters, where the students will be given the task that their spaceship has to be able to hold all 25 students in their class, and each of those students gets their own bed. So the students have to figure out a way to divide the space designated to their passengers to house 25 people and also incorporate other areas that people consider a necessity to living, such as a place to sleep, a place to eat, and a place to relax. So the students have to determine what humans need to survive and how can they incorporate these elements into their passenger quarters. So for your lower students, you can give them ideas for rooms. Like, do you want them to have bunk beds? Will they share bathrooms? Will there be kitchens? Will there be living rooms? For your proficient and advanced learners, challenge them to think about what humans consider necessities. Do you think that they need a laundry room? Do you think that they need TVs or electronics? Challenge them to think how they can incorporate that into their design. For this day, students will need pencil, paper, colored pencil, their design, and any manipulatives they might need, or even the option to research. I've provided pictures on how students can visualize how a traditional bedroom might look when having multiple beds in it. On day 4, students will then be tasked with can they incorporate animal habitat on their ship. They have to determine that they must have 3 exhibits, but they need to research what animals they think they need are crucial for populating the next planet. Students will then have to figure out what animals can survive in the same habitat and coexist, and how can they include 3 different exhibits that all have to be in identical shares, so they have to be divided evenly. All students should be allowed to research what a single habitat might look like, or how many animals do you think that they could house in one habitat, or even what's the maximum amount of animals they can have on their ship. To this day in this lesson, students will receive a shoebox. They will have colored paper, scissors, glue, markers, a computer for research, pencil, sticks, leaves, clovers, popsicle sticks, Play-Doh, clay, string, etc., so that they can create their habitats. As you can see in some of the student examples, that students can become creative when trying to determine what best would be suitable for each habitat that they create.